Our book was World Peace and Other Fourth Grade Achievements. Learning through chaos is the takeaway that I received. We had the prologue and chapters 1 through 3. The prologue, I felt like it dived into a lot of it I took away from with classroom management. I can really appreciate the author's views on classroom management, especially when he mentions how failure is just as much importance as weight and as success has in a semester of learning. With the endless negotiations and talks that he observes with his students that are so important in building that foundational support system in a classroom. Even in the low times of just having a few students, maybe possibly in the classroom, those foundational support systems can be observed, giving the students an advantage of building their own advocacy by building their own unique strategies and aids in the mental development of resolving problems within the collaboration. Hunter also explains that even with the complexity of the game, the students can dive in and learn to maneuver their way around by solving all sorts of problems and complexities. This gives the students a chance to explore on their own, yet the observation by the teacher can jump in and the teacher can add support and aids if he's needed. The 3 components of education are important to remember to student successes. Knowledge, which is the power to the answers and solutions. Creativity, that's the unexpectedness of the game. It's the unknown. It's within the unexpected, the failures and successes have a way of engaging and creating that growth. Wisdom, that's the larger, broader understanding of all the aspects. That includes the successes and the failures that emerge from the experience. One important factor to remember is that the game is to build that foundational support for students, with the students having the fundamental activities such as the successes and the failures, which are both equally important. It builds that collective wisdom that is so needed for the peacemaking portion of the project. That would entail not just as a collective, but as individuals as well. One major takeaway from the chapter is that the teacher found that in this chaos, there was calm that can be found. During the time of observation, the students can be seen finding that empty space in the midst of the chaos of lessons and activities and talks and battles and peacemaking, the empty space that drew the students to that quiet place. On page 2, it really dives into how important that empty space is. The students use this pause to find that creative process. Now, even though the game itself drives the creativity of the students, and with the proper support, the rules and the structure of the game, it offers a alternate reality and exploration. Chapter 1, John Comes Home. John uses the art of war and his worldly travels as a guide to his readings. I feel like he really brought a good aspect and a good look on from the art of war. On his way home from China, for instance, he was greeted with the possibility that with all his worldly travels, he had chanted with monks in a large reclining jade Buddha in the Temple of Shanghai. He had even swam in the Ganges River with monks who dipped their hands in the morning ablutions. He thought that when the young woman was posing her questions, that he was transcending that community and that nation as well as race. So he might be equally at home anywhere in the world. But he touched on how he, instead of making him feel free and elated, those questions made him feel sad. And my takeaway felt like he was feeling homesick. I mean, he used the word homeless, like he didn't have a place in the world. And he suddenly was, wanted to rejoin his community of American Black people, and he wanted to return home. He had realized that he had to overcome his students' crises, but don't let them sink. And so by using those worldly travels, he was able to bring his worldly experiences to home and to reflect with his students and give them an opportunity to learn with them. I really did like how he enforced the deeper engagement with the sabotage and the with the people that that he input into the game as that good guys and the double agents. I really did think that that was a great way for to represent that urge towards destruction that lurked within us all. And he actually used the students who cheat by accommodating one another. It was far too easy to overcome, so by eliminating the idea of cheating and using the sabotage, that was a great way to present that. He felt like he never consciously thought that the world peace game mirrored his own experiences under the segregation during the 50s and the 60s. He felt like Sun Tzu gave him language to incorporate his early survival techniques into the game. For example, on page 38, he wanted his students to consider the minority ethnic and religious struggles within the larger culture. So he created the Nin. It was the minority within an ecologically minded nation that was neither the richest nor the poorest. So it's kind of like the middle game, the middle child of the game, we'll call that. But that middle child was deeply related to the human and peace rights.